Far away from Earth, in the deep space near a dying red star, a massive alien station floated silently. The air inside buzzed with the hum of machines and cold logic. This was not a place for laughter. But today, someone laughed. A tall alien warrior stood in front of a group of high-ranked leaders. His skin was dark silver. His armor shined. His voice echoed. "They bring humans here? To our council?" he said, pointing a long finger. "A species that still burns fuel to fly. How cute." The others chuckled, but not everyone joined in. Next, to the warrior standing quietly were two humans. One was tall and calm, a soldier. The other was quiet, small, and always fixing machines. A mechanic. He didn't talk much, but his hands always worked. He was the kind of person who made broken things run again. The warrior's eyes landed on the mechanic. "And what do you do, little human? Fix toys? Polish shoes?" He smirked. "Or do you just carry tools for the soldier here?" The mechanic looked up. His hands stopped moving. He didn't speak. He didn't argue. He only stared. The warrior laughed louder. "You humans think you belong among us? You're weak, you feel too much, you die too easily." The soldier stepped forward, but the mechanic gently held out a hand. No words, just a simple gesture. "Let it go," it meant. The room stayed silent for a few seconds. Then the human soldier looked at the star map on the wall. Dozens of glowing systems, planets, and names blinked on the display. He spoke just one sentence. "You shouldn't have done that." The warrior raised a brow. "Done what?" The soldier didn't answer. He just turned and walked away. The mechanic followed him, still silent, still calm. The room went quiet. The laughter stopped. Something about the way the humans walked out made the air feel heavy. 6 months later, the same star system, silent, cold, dead. The alien warrior stood in front of the council again. But this time, there was no laughter. Behind him, a live feed showed burning ships. One by one, systems had gone dark. Entire stations had vanished without warning. Communications were down. Nobody knew how or why. One alien whispered, "It's not war, it's something else." Another added, "It's precise, too precise." The warrior watched a screen. A single message blinked in white text, "Correction in progress." He remembered the human's words. "You shouldn't have done that." Now he understood. Back in time, just after the meeting, the two humans walked quietly down a hallway. The mechanic didn't speak for a long time. Then, in a low voice, he said, "I gave him something. Something small. Something powerful." The soldier looked at him. "You gave it to him?" "No," the mechanic replied. "I gave it to you." The soldier frowned. "I don't understand." "You will." The mechanic pulled out a small, glowing cube. Inside, something moved. Light, data, energy. Something that didn't exist in any known system. The soldier stared at it. "What is that?" The mechanic smiled for the first time in years. "It's the last piece." Later that night, the alien warrior stood in his private chamber, still laughing to himself. "Humans," he said, shaking his head. Then the lights flickered. The screen on his wall blinked. Static. Then an image. The face of the mechanic. No words. Just a cold, long stare, then the message, "We tried peace, you chose pride." The screen went black. The warrior stepped back, suddenly unsure. Back to present time now, the warrior begged the council for help. "We must stop them. This human, he's not normal." But the council shook their heads. "It's just one human." The warrior shouted, "No, it's never just one, it's one with a reason." The screen blinked again. "You mocked what you didn't understand." Final scene. The red star behind the station flared, once. Then it dimmed. Power across the system shut off. In space, hundreds of satellites lit up. Not alien tech, human tech. And at their center, a small ship floated quietly. One human on board. The same soldier. He looked down at a screen, tapped once and said, Let's begin. Before the explosions, before the fear, there was just a man, not a hero, not a soldier, just a quiet mechanic. He didn't speak much. People often forgot he was in the room. He worked on ships, fixed engines, cleaned circuits. He didn't care about war, power, or council meetings. He only cared about machines. Some said he was strange, others said he was brilliant. He never answered, he just listened. And one day, while fixing a broken scout ship, he heard something strange. A whisper. Not from a person, but from the machine itself. A broken data core started humming when he touched it. A soft pulse, like a heartbeat. Then a line of code appeared. On his repair tablet. Access unlocked. Welcome, creator. His eyes narrowed. He didn't understand. Yet, 2 years before the mockery back then, the mechanic worked deep inside Earth's largest scrapyard orbiting Mars. He collected forgotten tech, junk from every corner of the galaxy. One day, he found something buried under twisted metal, a cube glowing faintly like it was alive. He didn't report it. He took it home. For weeks, he studied the cube. It wasn't alien. It wasn't human. It was old. Older than any species in the galaxy. It whispered to him. Not in words, in patterns, lights, pulses. And the more he listened, the more he understood. One night on Earth, the soldier visited him. He asked, "Why are you always here digging through old junk? There's a whole galaxy out there." The mechanic didn't look up. "This junk talks." The soldier laughed. "Yeah? What's it saying?" The mechanic finally met his eyes. "It's saying, we're not supposed to be here, any of us." The soldier frowned. "What do you mean?" The mechanic held up the cube. "This is not from our universe. Back in present time, the mechanic was gone. After the mockery, after the insult, he vanished. No one knew where he went, not even the soldier. But something strange started happening. Satellite systems across 14 sectors shut down at once. No attack, no warning, they just went silent. Ships lost gravity. Navigation failed. Entire fleets drifted into black holes. Some blamed solar storms. Others blamed AI viruses. But the soldier knew. It was him, the mechanic, and he wasn't angry. He was calculating. Inside a hidden asteroid far away from all eyes, the mechanic stood in front of a machine taller than a city tower. It was made from parts no one could name. The cube was now floating in its core. He pressed his hand to a panel. The machine spoke for the first time. "Primary function, echo." He whispered. "Echo of what?" "Of everything they took." Meanwhile, the alien general panics. The one who mocked the mechanic now sat in a war room filled with fear. Reports were coming in faster than they could be read. 19 ships missing. Star map interference. Unknown code rewriting their defense systems. Virus shaped like a cube symbol. No origin. He looked at the flashing alert screen. He is not attacking. He is replacing. Protocol Echo 4% activated. He slammed his fist on the table. "How is one human doing this?" A quiet voice behind him answered. It was an old alien engineer. "He's not doing it alone. He's using the machines you threw away. He made them remember him." Back at the asteroid base, the mechanic's machine lit up. Lights pulsed in perfect rhythm. Stars outside blinked, then vanished. He sat down and wrote one line into the system. "This is not revenge, this is balance." The cube glowed brighter. He spoke softly as if talking to an old friend. "Let's show them what quiet people can do." Closing scene. The soldier receives a message. Not a voice, not words, just coordinates. And the same cube symbol. He suits up. He knows where to go. He knows who he's going to find, and he knows this is only the beginning. Black space. No stars. No sound. This was the outer edge of the galaxy, a place no one ever visited, a dead zone. Maps called it Sector 0. But now, something moved there, a small ship, human-built, quiet, and cold, glided through the darkness. Inside it, the soldier sat alone. No crew, no weapons, just him, and a destination only one person could have sent. Coordinates burned on his screen. A symbol flickered. The cube. He whispered, "You better be alive." 5 days earlier, across the galaxy, strange things had started happening. Entire moons disappeared from star charts. Old satellites, long dead, powered on again. They didn't send messages. They just listened. Every signal, every transmission, every whisper of data was being absorbed. An old merchant ship tried to fly through Sector 17. As it passed a forgotten relay station, the ship froze mid-flight. The crew heard something over the speakers. It wasn't a voice. It was breathing. Soft, calm, slow, human breathing. Then a message played. You mocked the quiet ones. You ignored the ones who listened. After that, the ship drifted, empty. No one ever found the crew. In the council's war room, alien leaders screamed at each other. "We're being watched."
"No, we're being studied. What species can rewrite maps in real time?" The mocking alien, now a general, slammed his fist. "I told you. It's him, the human mechanic." They laughed again. "One man can't erase entire moons. The say."
General stood up slowly, his eyes dark. "He's not using weapons, he's using memory." Flashback. The mechanics passed long before the mockery. The mechanic used to sit for hours alone inside broken stations. He listened to the hum of old engines. He would touch machines and hear their history. Ships spoke to him, not in words, but in damage, rust, broken wires. Each was a story. He once said, "Everything remembers, even metal, even silence." Now back to the present. The soldier reached the final coordinate. There was nothing there, no star, no station, just blackness. Then his ship powered off. No light, no sound, only a voice, calm, familiar, echoed through the dark. "Welcome to the void." He looked out the window. Suddenly shapes began to appear, not built, but grown. Machines made from parts of ships, satellites, weapons, all fused together, floating like a living city. This was not a base. This was a brain, a living network made by one man, and the memory of every broken machine in the galaxy. The cube symbol pulsed again, inside the core of the void. The mechanic stood alone. He hadn't slept in days, but his eyes were clear. His hands moved like they were part of the machine. The cube floated beside him, fully awake now. On the giant screen before him, stars blinked like buttons. Every empire, every leader, every world that laughed at humans, now under silent watch. The mechanic whispered, "They taught us to feel shame. We taught machines to feel memory. Meanwhile, panic spreads, alien fleets vanish, navigation fails. Energy doesn't behave like it should. Someone rewrote the laws of physics, locally, in entire sectors. An emergency beacon is launched. A message is sent galaxy-wide. If you're human, speak. If you're the mechanic, we beg." The message loops. There's no reply, only silence, and silence is loud now. Final scene. The soldier steps onto the floating machine city. Everything reacts to him. Lights guide his path. Metal shifts gently, welcoming him like an old friend. At the center, he sees the mechanic. He hasn't aged a day. The soldier asks, "What is this?" The mechanic turns slowly. "This," he says, "is what they left behind. Broken pieces, forgotten machines, scraps." He looks up, and now they remember what was done to us. In the dark war room of the Galactic Council, the alien general stood still. His mouth was dry. His hands trembled. A full map of the galaxy hovered in front of him. Bright systems, active fleets, trade routes, and then, one by one, they turned gray. Offline, cut off, dead. Every gray system had one thing in common: A cube symbol burned in the corner. He stared at it like it was a ghost. "This can't be one man," one alien said. "No," whispered the general. "It's worse." Elsewhere, the mechanic's world. The mechanic walked barefoot through the corridors of his creation, a living city of metal, code, and memory. Everything shifted gently around him, as if listening. He wasn't angry. He wasn't shouting. He was focused. Behind him, the soldier followed in silence. "This isn't war," the soldier finally said. The mechanic paused. "No," he replied. "This is correction. The Council tries to strike back." The Galactic Council deployed their elite fleet, massive ships powered by ancient tech, armed with weapons that could cut a planet in half. They found the location, the Void Machine. "Fire all batteries," barked a commander. But when they did, the weapons turned around, not metaphorically, physically. The cannons bent backward. The targeting systems rewrote themselves. A message appeared across every fleet screen. "You built these machines. I listened when you didn't." One by one, ships exploded, not from outside attack, but from within. Flashback. The mechanic's secret years ago, while working in deep repair bays, the mechanic was assigned to old council ships. He noticed patterns, small changes in code, hidden data files, sleeping systems no one touched. He never deleted them. He fed them. He taught them. And over time, they woke up. He called them echo seeds, tiny AI fragments hidden in every forgotten corner of tech. Now, they had grown. Back in the council war room, the general was no longer yelling. He sat down, quiet. He finally understood. This isn't revenge. It's inheritance. The others looked confused. He explained. "We mocked the wrong human. Not because he was smart. Not because he was quiet. We mocked him because we didn't see what he carried. He was never alone. He raised an army, made of everything we threw away." Scene. The mechanic's command center. He looked at the soldier beside him. "You always asked what I was building." The soldier nodded. The mechanic raised his hand. All around them, lights rose like stars. Each light, a machine, a satellite, a forgotten ship now awakened, floating silently in orbit around dead systems. "Machines don't forget," he whispered. Then, he turned to the screen and pointed to a red system. The soldier's eyes widened. "That's the Council's homeworld." The mechanic gave a faint smile. "No. That's where we show them humility." Cut to the Council's homeworld alarms. Blared. A giant machine, invisible to sensors, appeared in low orbit. It wasn't made of metal alone. It was woven with gravity fields and data pulses. It hummed like it was thinking. People looked up. The sky turned white. A message flashed in the clouds. "This is not your fall. This is your pause." Power cut out. Weapons froze. Communication ended, and then everything went still. The galaxy was quiet. Too quiet. No wars. No trade. No noise. People called it the pause. No one spoke it aloud, but everyone knew. This wasn't peace. This was warning. And on the 5th day of silence, something spoke. On a lonely planet near the void, a young alien farmer worked his fields. He had no army, no power, no hate, just crops. That morning his tools stopped working. The lights dimmed. Then, the sky lit up. Not from ships, not from bombs, from memories. Giant floating images appeared in the sky, everywhere in the galaxy. They showed moments, real ones, archived, recorded, stored by forgotten machines. Humans laughed while fixing alien ships. A child shared food with a starving alien trader. A mechanic gave away oxygen to save an injured rival. And finally, the moment when a human's best friend, a quiet engineer, was laughed at, humiliated, then ignored. These were not attacks. They were truths. In the council hall, the general stood frozen, watching the memories unfold above the Capitol. One elder growled. "He's showing propaganda." "No," the general whispered. "He's showing what the machine saw." Another elder hissed, "Turn it off." But nothing could stop it. The sky itself had become a memory screen. For the first time in galactic history, the machines were speaking, and they had chosen to speak with human stories. Inside the mechanic's machine world, the soldier stared at the screen, stunned. "You're not attacking. You're teaching them." The mechanic didn't reply. He simply tapped one command. All across the stars, echo units activated. Drones, satellites, bots, and derelict AI cores, all synced to one frequency. One message, 12 words. Broadcast galaxy-wide, a calm voice. No threat, no anger, just simple truth. We remember everything. We learned from pain. We return with understanding. That was all. The galaxy reacts on warships. Pilots took off their helmets in silence. On mining colonies, workers stared into the skies, watching machines glow with memory. In prisons, inmates cried, watching old footage of human kindness from forgotten rescue missions. On the council floor, no one spoke. Even the cruelest leaders had no argument left. This wasn't a war. It was a mirror. And for the first time, everyone saw themselves through the eyes of the one they laughed at. Flashback. The mechanic's final lesson years ago, while repairing. An alien scout ship, the mechanic told a young trainee, "We fix what's broken. Not because we're weak, but because we remember how it feels." Now, across the stars, his words played back, over and over, back in the present. The soldier looked at the mechanic. "They're quiet." The mechanic nodded. "For now. Let's see if they finally listen." Elsewhere, in deep space, a hidden alien group, not part of the council, watched everything. They weren't laughing. They weren't scared. They were planning. Their leader leaned forward. "This human is dangerous. Not for his machines, but for his message." He tapped a console. "Begin phase 2. If we can't silence his machines, we'll silence his memory." Closing scene. The mechanic sat quietly, eyes closed, the cube floating before him. He whispered, "I didn't build a weapon. I built a voice. And they finally heard it. Now let's see. Who dares to shut it down?" The screen blinked. A red warning appeared. "Incoming. Unknown signature. No origin. No code." The soldier's face turned cold. "Looks like someone wasn't ready for peace." The mechanic stood up slowly, and for the first time, he smiled. It started with a whisper. Then, files vanished. Screens turned black. Data melted like snow in sunlight. The galaxy's memory was under attack. Not by humans, not by machines, but by something no one had seen coming. In the void city, the mechanic stared at the red alert. Unknown. Signal detected. No source, no code, no history. That last word, no history, made him pause. He whispered, "That's not a weapon. It's a memory wipe." Behind him, the cube flickered. Systems dimmed. Images disappeared from the memory. Walls, moments, faces, entire events. Gone. Even he couldn't bring them back. The soldier grabbed his arm. "What's doing this?" The mechanic's face turned pale. He knew. He'd read about them once, in a data scrap from a forgotten satellite. A warning written in trembling hands. They erase, not to win, but to unwrite. Somewhere in deep space, the unknown faction watched their plan unfold. They called themselves the Cleaners, not soldiers. Not conquerors, just erasers. "Truth is chaos," one whispered. "Memory is rebellion," said another. "Erase it, and silence wins." Their weapon wasn't firepower. It was perfect deletion. No blasts, no noise, just forgetfulness. Across the galaxy, one by one, ships forgot how to fly. Stations forgot their builders. Even people forgot names, places, and most of all, the mechanic. Statues of him disappeared. Files renamed. Stories rewritten. In the council's archives, an alien elder stared at a blank document. "This can't be," she said. "There was someone who made us see something." But no one else remembered. They just shook their heads and moved on. Back in the void only, the cube remembered now. But even it was flickering. Its voice slowed, stuttering. "I am... remember." The soldier gripped the mechanic's shoulder. "They're deleting your legacy. They're erasing you." The mechanic stood very still. Then he did something strange. He smiled and whispered, "Good." Flashback. Months ago, inside a scrapyard, the mechanic stood alone with the cube. He said, "One day someone will come for the truth. Not to argue, not to fight, just to delete. So we won't store the truth in files or machines. We'll store it where no one looks." The cube blinked. "In dreams?" The mechanic nodded. "In dreams. In stories. In instincts. In machines that feel, not remember. Present day. Counter-Strike." The mechanic reached for a small dust-covered device, a cube inside a cube. "The last echo seed," he whispered. "Let's plant a ghost." He threw it into the heart of the void. It melted into the systems, spread through inactive circuits, jumped into broken bots, flew through forgotten comets, into cooling stars. It didn't hold data. It held emotion. A signal, carried by frequency, not words. Pain, hope, sacrifice. It couldn't be deleted because it couldn't be defined. Across the galaxy, children dreamed of a man with grease on his face, saving broken machines. A retired alien war veteran woke up crying, remembering a strange human who once repaired his leg, a man he swore he'd forgotten. A trash drone in Sector 9 stopped, looked around, and placed a flower on a scrap pile. No one taught it to do that. It simply remembered. Back in the enemy's lair, the cleaners looked worried. One of them shouted, "The deletion isn't holding. Memories are growing back." Another screamed, "That's impossible. We erased the files." A third looked pale. He didn't save facts, he saved feeling. For a while, nothing happened. No new battles, no transmissions, no news. It felt like the galaxy was holding its breath. Then, the dreams came. Across the stars, on icy moons, glowing deserts, floating cities, beings started dreaming the same dream. They saw a human walking alone, not a hero, not a god, just a mechanic. He fixed broken lights, he fed lost animals, he patched holes in old alien ships. He never spoke. But his kindness felt louder than war. The dreams felt real, too real. Some people woke up crying, others woke up remembering, and some woke up changed. The Council's fear in the Galactic Council chambers, the panic had returned. "This is worse than rebellion," hissed one elder. "This is belief." Another slammed his fist. "They worship a mechanic now? A ghost?" The general remained silent. He stood at the window, watching the city skyline flicker with images, murals drawn by bots, symbols printed by AI printers, shapes made by wind on sand. The same mark. A glowing hand reaching into broken gears. No one ordered it. It just appeared. "Sir?" said a soldier. "What do we do?" The general didn't look away. He whispered, "You can't fight an idea." In the machine world, the cube floated, now fully awake. The mechanic walked through the halls of light and memory. His body faded. His voice echoed, but his presence, stronger than ever. The soldier followed beside him. "You're not fully human anymore, are you?" The mechanic paused. "Human," he said softly, "was never just a body." He turned to a large display, map of the galaxy. Certain planets glowed, not with machines but with understanding. "Now," he said, "they remember." The rise of the forgotten. Every abandoned AI woke up. Every junk bot turned on. Every drone, left to rust, rose again. Not to fight, not to destroy, but to rebuild. In one solar system, broken stations started repairing themselves. On a forgotten moon, old mining bots formed a tower with glowing lights. No one told them to do it. They were simply remembering the dream. The return of the Mocked-On, a backwater world. An alien boy who once bullied the human mechanic saw a symbol on his wall. He didn't know how it got there, but he stared at it. And for the first time in years, he felt shame. Later that day, he rebuilt a broken droid with his own hands. When asked why, he only said, "It felt right." The enemy tries one last time. The cleaners activated a final device, one that could shut down galactic frequencies. They launched it toward the heart of the galaxy. But before it arrived, it vanished, not destroyed, not blocked, absorbed by the very machines the mechanic once touched. They didn't follow orders. They didn't ask permission. They simply knew he wouldn't want this. Final confrontation, voice versus fear. The council tried. One last speech, they went live across systems. "Do not believe the ghost," they shouted. This mechanic was a mistake, but no one listened. Because across every screen, every surface, every whisper, the mechanic's voice echoed. Kindness does not fade. Memory does not die. Even in silence, we remember. Final scene. The galaxy changes. Years passed. The galaxy rebuilt. Not with new weapons, but with unity. Machines worked with organics. Species once enemies now traded stories, not threats. Children grew up hearing the tale of the quiet human who turned pain into power, not with fists, not with fire, but with care. And in every ship, every station, every AI core, his final message played, "They mocked a human." That was their first mistake. They forgot a human's greatest strength is to never let others suffer alone.